Happy New Year, everyone! I can still say this, right? First of all, I want to say that I'm sorry for disappearing for about a month without any notice. For me, this was the worst holiday season of my life. Do you remember how I've been mentioning in my videos that my body hasn't been the same since I turned 40? Well, starting from November 28th, I was sick for about 26 days. During that time, I was constantly throwing up for 23 days straight. Hospitalized for a total of 12 days and made a 2 ER visits. I even lost 19 pounds during this period. Do I look okay? Of course, I had to close my office for the whole December. Let me share with you what happened. On November 27th, I was on the roof putting up Christmas lights. That night, I felt like I was coming down with a cold. So I took some medication that a friend of mine prescribed back in Korea. This is what I took. This medicine usually takes care of the early flu symptoms within a couple of days. I took it for the first time on November 28th, morning, lunch, and dinner. By the morning of the 29th, I started feeling nauseous, sweating like crazy, and freezing cold. That night, the vomiting began. On November 30th, around 1 a.m., I went to ER and stayed there for about 11 hours until being discharged at noon. When I was discharged, my nausea level was about 5 out of 10, but there was nothing they could do. No medication worked for my vomiting or nausea, and the vomiting didn't stop until December 23rd. To give you an idea of how bad it was, I was throwing up traffic light colors. At first, it was a yellow, then green, and finally red. Thankfully, the blood was from the damage to my throat caused by constant acid exposure. During this time, we ran every possible test, including psychological evaluation, but everything came back normal. When I wasn't in the hospital, I went to private Korean clinic a couple of times to get the IV fluid for vitamins and minerals, just to make sure my body wasn't becoming malnourished since I couldn't eat anything for 23 days. Because all the tests came out normal, every doctor had a different opinion about the cause. I even tried functional medicine. They suspect SIBO, but I don't think that was the issue. So I decided to figure things out myself. If there was nothing wrong with physiologically, then it had to be a functionality issue, right? My symptoms were primarily nausea and vomiting. Even a sip of water would make me throw up immediately. My mouth constantly felt hot, coated with mucus, and I craved ice water or anything extremely cold, even though my body felt freezing. I couldn't stop thinking about jumping into a cold swimming pool or the ocean. In reality, hot shower was the only thing that my symptoms slightly better while I was in the shower. Whenever I tried mild food when I wasn't throwing up, I would feel acid rising up to my throat within like 30 minutes. Everything I ate tasted bitter, even water. After vomiting stopped, when I tried eating Korean rice porridge, each grain felt like sand in my mouth. The only thing I could manage was noodles, which are usually not great for digestion since they are made of wheat, but strangely, they were okay for me. Looking back at my lifestyle over the past year, I can see how much stress I was putting on my body. My schedule since starting YouTube looked like this. A long time ago, I watched Elon Musk's commencement speech at USC, and there was a one part that really stuck with me. Let me show you a short clip.
I think the first is you need to work, depending upon how well you want to do, and particularly if you're starting a company, you need to work super hard. So what does super hard mean? We're so hard up, we had just one computer. So the website was up during the day, and I was coding at night. 7 days a week, all the time. Work hard, like, every waking hour. That's the thing I would say, particularly if you're starting a company. And I mean, if you do simple math, say like, okay, if somebody else is working 50 hours and you're working 100, you'll get twice as much done in the course of a year as the other company.
Like Elon said, if you want to achieve something, you have to work harder and longer than others. I had to invest every waking moment into it. That's why I kept that kind of schedule. By October, I started noticing that I felt more tired and thought I might not getting enough sleep. On weekends, I found myself dozing off here and there, when I was never the type of the person who takes nap or doze off. My conclusion was that I was too confident with my health and I pushed myself too hard over the past year. Especially in October when I was preparing for Ribbon's launch, the stress and exhaustion weakened my body. On top of that, taking strong medication like impaired my stomach function, leading to nausea and vomiting. And because I had burned so much energy, my recovery was incredibly slow. I completely related to Elon Musk's word, but what I overlooked was that Elon is not an ordinary man. I thought I had a naturally good endurance and remembered how I could handle even tougher schedule back in college. But back then, I was in my 20s or early 30s. Now, I'm in my 40s, so it's different, right? A couple of my MD friends, when they first starting practicing, they would often criticize Eastern medicine, saying things like how it's not scientific or Eastern medicine isn't reliable. Back then, I told them that when we are young, most of symptoms we have a clear reason. But as we age, there will be things conventional medicine cannot explain, and it will either be blamed on stress or aging. So let's wait and see. The funny thing is, now those same friends often come to me saying their parents or relative are sick and they ran all kinds of tests, everything is normal. Then they ask me, how do I treat this kind of case? Aging definitely decreases our body's functional capacity. To explain this in Western medicine term, when you get a blood test, the results are shown as a range. In Western medicine, any number within the range is considered normal. But in Eastern medicine, the middle of range is considered optimal. If you're on the lower side, it seems as a decreased function. And if you're on the higher end, it's seen as an excessive function. Eastern medicine prioritizes harmony and balance across all organs. This past month was the most painful time of my life. Going through with it, I realized that health is the most important thing. I missed all my kids' Christmas event and it broke my heart. Elon's advice is absolutely right. You do need to work hard to achieve things faster, but what's even more important is timing. In your 20s and 30s, when you have energy and passion, you can do almost anything. But as you age, pushing too hard takes a toll on your health. I ended up closing my office for a whole month. I hope you will always prioritize your health, and I promise to keep bringing you good and accurate information to help with that. May 2025 be an amazing and healthy year for all of you. And let's remember that health is wealth. So let's all invest in ourselves. This is Dr. Sean making health easy for you. See you next time.